Hello everybody and welcome back for more Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. In the last episode, we entered the Deku Palace and then we got the request from the monkey about the princess being kidnapped and he was being wrongfully accused. And so in this episode, we are going to enter the first of the 4 dungeons in the game, the Woodfall Temple. And yes, as I've mentioned before and mentioned just now, this game only has 4 dungeons. And so, because of that, then, if you're just going for all 4 of the dungeons without any of the side quests, then this game won't really take that long for you to finish. But it's also one of those things where, you really want to make sure to just, get as many of the side quests, or basically get all the side quests as possible, just for the complete satisfaction of it, because that's what I want to do, of course. Even with the open world games, like these here, or, like, even in Breath of the Wild, like, even though I could just go and face off against Calamity Ganon, right then and there, right at the beginning, I never like doing that, though, because, I want to earn that kind of right to face him. Like, I just want to get everything done. I want to, feel the satisfaction and all the, and the complete victory of all that. But, anyway, I'm getting out a little off topic here, so... Anyway, so the thing with the dungeons, or all 4 of the dungeons, is that, they are... Well, I mean, I will say that Woodfall Temple isn't really that hard, though. But it's also one of those things where, the game really will test you to make sure that they can figure things out here. Like, with all 4 of the dungeons, you really want to just make sure that you're comprehending on what you need to do with some of the dungeons, like, with all the puzzles around here and just checking for things here, which actually relates to one thing that I will explain in a second here. But yeah, these dungeons in Majora's Mask, they will really test your knowledge and just to make sure that you figure things out with the whole thing here. It wasn't quite like in, I would say, Ocarina of Time, where, well, the first 3 dungeons as a Child Link, where, like, even when you go inside the Deku Tree, and, it's kind of like a tutorial dungeon, I would say, where you just need to figure some stuff out, but it's still, like, it's still easy in that regard. So it's basically like a beginner's kind of dungeon. But Majora's Mask isn't quite like that, though, where, where these dungeons really will test your knowledge. Even the first dungeon, like Woodfall Temple, which, like I said, isn't really that hard, though. But, but you just make sure you just know what you're doing with those ones, is what I'm saying here. So, and, they'll be littered with bits and pieces with puzzles. Well, not say that the other Zelda games doesn't have any puzzle elements, because it is The Legend of Zelda. It's going to have a lot of puzzle elements for you to figure out, which is something I really like, though, because I just like being able to solve things, and, it's just all part of the adventure. So, these dungeons, they have a bit of a gimmick here. And what it is, you see those those fairies that we saw before? Oh yeah, this is actually where I can buy the snappers here. But anyway, so yeah, these are well, not those ones I'm talking about, but like the ones we're collecting right now. Those are the stray fairies, and there are 15 of the stray fairies in each of the dungeons. Now, granted though, they are still optional. Like, they're not necessarily a requirement per se, but it's still highly recommended to collect all those for this. Oh, look at that! I killed 2 of the snappers at once. Nice. I really got this one here. This third one I actually kind of struggled a bit though, because that fucker won't even try to get even close to the deck of flowers I was trying to pop out of. But yeah, you want to make sure to collect all of the stray fairies, because they will. Because once you get all of those and get the reward for it, they will really work in your favor for whichever kind of upgrades that you get after you restore the Gray Fairy that's in the same area as the dungeons themselves. So, in a sense, though, like people say that, because of those gimmicks for these dungeons, in addition to having to solve some puzzles that'll come along your way, that's where they also included the stray fairies they had to just go around and collect, because it's one of those things where that what I was talking about for figuring things out or just checking some things that you want to check to make sure you check every nook and cranny there is, or as a matter of fact, if you don't want to really waste so much time, then it would be recommended to actually have a guide on standby. Which, the best kind of guide there is just go on the Zelda dungeon for the website, just to take a look at those guides, and they can really help out a lot here. And yes, this dungeon here, well, this is where we had the whole key system, like all the other Zelda games. Actually, just this early, like in the 3D Zelda games, because like in Ocarina of Time, like the first game to jump into 3D. Where the first 3 dungeons didn't really have the small keys. It's only once you get to the adult dungeons is where you start getting the small keys. But yeah, the small keys this early here. I think this might be the only one you'll ever get, though, in this dungeon. Well, all the other ones you'll just get more than one. So yeah, it's it's kind of easy in a way, and just not that complicated or anything. By the way, folks, see those jaws right here on those lily pads? So as long as you're Deku Link, they won't really hurt you at all. You can just use these platforms. But if you're a regular Link, then they will try to eat you. So you want to be careful of that. As a matter of fact, those lily pads you did see here, that's also where you need a Deku Link to hop across them because they won't sink down. But regular Link, though, they will actually sink down because Link is a fat ass. Because, I don't know, I mean, did Link put on a couple of pounds in Ocarina of Time? I mean, maybe he could have, probably after the stress and after the grief of having been separated from Navi. I mean, that could be one kind of theory. But then again, though, this game is very much depressing, though. And, you know, after what you experience, and you're probably just going to be, like, doing some PTSD stress eating and all that, and gaining weight as a result. Goddamn, this Skulltula, they're even more aggressive than Ocarina of Time, though. We're, like, close enough to them, then they'll actually spin around even when you try to, hit their weak points. But anyway, so yeah, like that here. So go back a bit with the Stray Fairies. So yeah, that's where one of those things where you want to check to make sure you just check every nook and cranny, because you know there could be some Stray Fairies in the room. Like you know, you could smash them pots like I did just now, then there would be a Stray Fairy in there, or you can see them out in the open. Or if you kill some certain enemies, then Stray Fairies will actually appear like that. And then Stray Fairies will even appear in some hidden objects that you can see here, like this beehive over there. Break that one, then the Stray Fairy will come out as well. And then once you actually collect the Stray Fairy, then they actually heal you. Like if you ever taken damage, then they actually restore your hearts, or at least for several hearts. And this is also where the Great Fairy Mask comes into play here, is that you know if you like once you have it on, if you see these little particles shimmering from the mask itself, that's when you're in the same room where the Stray Fairy is. And then when there's like Stray Fairies out in the open, you can actually hear this little chime. And then that's when the Stray Fairy will come to you, and then they'll actually be drawn over to you when you have the Great Fairy Mask on. So that's actually where really that's going to play. All right, so what I just say here with those mods here. So this is actually something that either a lot of people could forget or they haven't really figured out. Is that you can actually kill this moth. So what it is that, you know, if you light these torches on fire, or if you bring on the Deku Stick and light it on fire, these moths will follow you and they will actually hurt you. There is a way to actually mitigate this. So what you can do is if you stand by the moss and you either kill all the bombs or you put on the blast mask, and then you stand by them, make sure you use a shield to do so, so that way they won't take damage from the blast itself. Once you stand by them, the moths can actually be killed by using the blast mask or by explosions, because they're apparently weakened by that. So, because you know, because lighting the Deku Stick on fire, they will follow you and they'll chase after you no matter where you go. And then they're basically what they are is that they're attracted to fire. Well, I mean that's kind of how moths are in real life, although it's actually just the light from either lamps or the lanterns. And think about those kind of moths there from back in 2018, probably. Ugh, I was gonna hear those out of nowhere memes. God. But anyhow, yeah, I can see here that just seeing that torch. Yeah, those moths will definitely be drawn over to it here, and you know they'll keep on following you no matter what. But then you know if you get rid of the light Deku Stick, and you actually just slash away the sword to conserve the sticks, because they will burn down. And then just use Blast Mask, and then they'll just go away like that. That'll make your life so much easier and stressful like that. So, yeah, there you go. This part of the platform right here, I do not like though because of how far apart they are, and there could be times you can actually just follow those platforms. Actually, where Link can actually show off his acrobatics here. I do. I really do like how he has it here. It's very much of an upgrade here, so maybe he did take up some training. I guess I take back what I said about him doing some stress eating and maybe putting on some pounds, because I mean he definitely did do some training, so kudos to him for that there. I guess a little more confidence here. And yeah, there are two types. Well, actually now there's just three types of Deku Babas here. Like there was the mini Babas that was just that's new in this game here. There's also the Wither Babas here. If you slash at them, then you'll get the Deku Sticks from them. Alright, so Talson's a lot of evil here. Alright, so this is actually where we have some of the most annoying enemies here. These are the bows, or in this case, the black bows. And they will respawn a lot of times. They are absolutely annoying. It's kind of hard to see because of the, well, probably because of the ambience here. We're going to make sure to kill all of them, though, because a treasure chest will appear. And, let's see what else. Well, yeah, the thing about the black bows is that, you know, they, like, there's that one instance where they will constantly respawn, and I can't stand these little shits here, because they are They're annoying very much because of the way they will constantly respawn here and they'll try to jump at you. They don't really take that much damage, so I mean, they're not really that threatening in a way. And it may seem cute though because, well, despite the fact they're supposed to be just blobs of mouse here, but I mean, you know, they're still annoying in a way, so I really can't stand them. Here's one other thing that I do want to mention as well. If you're playing the 3DS version of this game, the locations of the stray fairies are going to be different. Like they kind of changed the locations of some of the stray fairies from this version here. So this might be where you'll probably need a guide for this one, especially those of you who are so used to the N64 version, and then you're going to get thrown off by the different locations of the stray fairies themselves. Not only that though, but they're also going to be a different color because they actually changed the upgrades for the Gray Fairies upgrades from the version itself. That I will actually go over and talk about what it is here. But for now, we're just basically going for the pink ones here. And I didn't know the jump cut because I had to go use the bathroom. I heard that over there, so yeah, that was my kind of excuse there. Anyway, you want to be very careful as you go across the platforms here, and just want to make sure the timer right there. And also because these assholes over there, those dragonflies, I did one of those test recordings here, and I fucked up on that aspect here because I was want to make sure those dragonflies haven't gotten to me because they kept on buzzing around, and I fell at those platforms and out of the bottom here. And I really didn't want to waste too much time because, and you can see how Link is starting to wear off from the deck of flowers. Because like once it wears off, then Link will actually just immediately drop down on the ground stuff. Like gravity would just take an effect. So it's not like he'll just gradually float down over to the bottom of the ground. No, he just he just drops down like a rock. So that's one thing you want to be careful for. So just go this way here. I like how they add those kind of stairs like to get to the first, second floor in the 3D. Like it's very much like in A Link to the Past where they have something like that here. But they incorporated that to 3D here, so that's actually something they do here. It's almost kind of like you know, where Ocarina of Time is basically like some kind of it's mostly like testing grounds for the Nintendo 64, like the transition to 3D for the Zelda games. But and then for the case of Majora's Mask, it actually very much improved on that, where it's more like way more fresh like that. You know, that's it was where they actually got a lot more comfortable, and then they managed to just go above and beyond with this one. So it's actually very much amazing like that here. All right, so here we have a mini boss for this one. This here is a Dinalfo. Or Dinafol? Okay, yeah, Dinafol. I was making sure to get the pronunciation right. They're a little more advanced than the, if you remember the Lizalfos. Well, they're kind of like similar to how they were in Ocarina of Time. In addition, though, they will actually breathe fire. So after you slash at them, they will, they'll breathe fire. Make sure you do that as regular Link, though, because you don't want to do this as Deku Link, because as Deku Link, Deku Link is very flammable. Like, he will immediately just, he'll immediately just, immediately die from the fire itself. So that's what you want to be careful for. So make sure you have a regular Link for the Dinafol. But then after a few hits, then after a few hits, then then I'll just be taken out. So not too hard, I would say. Although he'll try to just jump away from you, kind of like the regular Lizalfos. And with that, we have the item in this game, item in this dungeon, the Hero's Bow. So one thing I will say though is that you remember how some of the items that only adult Link could carry and that child Link can't really carry? Like, the only thing for projectiles would be the slingshot. Well, that is not the case anymore now because now Link in this game is able to use the items that adult Link could only be able to use. In this case, he can now use the bow and arrow, which very much is such an upgrade for Link in this kind of, well, in the age that he is now. To be able to use, because, you know, I guess considering that he's at least a couple years older than from how old he was in Ocarina of Time. And so I guess because he's got to where he's able to use the adult-based items, like the bow, for instance. So now we got so now we got a projectile with us, and thank God, though, because the snot bubbles that we have to use as Deku Link is, like, it can just go all over the place as well, but with the bow and arrow, it can be a lot more precise. So I am so thankful, and also like this early in the game as well. Even though the slingshot was still kind of this early here, but bow and arrow, oh yeah, that's definitely a step up for this one. I love how this game just gave us the bow and arrow like this early in the game. It's so much of an upgrade here, especially in the case of just Link in this age of being able to use it. Alright, and this, so there's another mini-boss here. This is a gecko, and he's, yeah, he's pissed off here. He must be, I don't know, the gecko's, rejected brother or cousin or something like that, or disowned brother. Because, I don't know, maybe he was long overdue for the, payment they had to pay on his car insurance, even though he could save, just, 15% in 15 minutes here. Yeah, this must be how his brother was just like disowning his family because he didn't pay nothing on his car insurance from Geico. Anyway, so after this first phase, after slashing away, then he'll send out the snapper that he'll ride on. And so what you gotta do is that you have to do what you did with the regular snappers here, just by shooting off with the Deku Flower, and then they'll separate themselves, and then the gecko here will start climbing the walls, and then that's where you have to. That's actually where the bow and arrow comes into play. So just shoot right at the gecko here, and then you'll just drop down just by getting hit. But he's still a pain in the ass though because he moves around constantly, and so once he stays in place, then that's where you can get a better shot at him. And it's always better just to do so when you're locking onto him as well, because you know it's also one of the things where you know the lock-on feature is very much of a godsend in those 3D games like this here, because that's actually one thing that's very much needed here, is just by using the Z targeting here. And then there we have it. And so the gecko's down. And then after the gecko disintegrates, turns into a frog. Now these frogs here, they're very much gonna be they're gonna come into play for this one certain side quest, which I actually do not like. It's one of my least favorite side quests because of how much of a pain in the ass it is because of it. And that's gonna be saved for some kind of cycle that we're gonna have to do a little later here. And so we see this fancy colorful chest over there. Well, I mean, we already know what's going to be in here. It's actually just coming in this early here, even though we're kind of like halfway into the dungeon, in the dungeon itself, because, I mean, it really isn't that long. So, this fancy chest here, this houses a boss key. And so with that, we can be able to go inside the door where the boss lurks. So we have that out of the way, and so, yeah, we're pretty much almost done with this dungeon here. But, of course, I'm going to go ahead and end off this video because, well, because I'm that kind of asshole here. But, it's still a bit of a lengthy dungeon, even though it is supposedly the first dungeon in this game. So, I mean, I'm going to have to end it off eventually. So, next time on Let's Play Majora's Mask, we are going to finish off the rest of the Woodfall Temple and see if we can face off against the boss, and then see if we can find the Guardian Deity that was supposed to be in prison here. So, and then after that, then we'll go to rescue the princess. So, I will see you guys next time.